The massive space station hung in the darkness above Kepler Prime like a metal moon. Inside its great council chamber, beings from across the galaxy had gathered for an emergency meeting. The air buzzed with different languages and the hum of translation devices. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood at the center of it all. His uniform was plain compared to the shining armor and flowing robes around him. His face showed no fear, even though every alien eye in the room was staring at him with doubt. The Vorthak representative rose from his crystal chair. His body looked like living glass, and light danced through him as he spoke. "This is madness." His voice rang out like breaking bells. "The Galactic Core has killed everything that enters it. Our greatest fleets are bones floating in that cursed space." Commander Veltar of the Skarn Empire hissed his agreement. His scales gleamed under the chamber lights as his forked tongue tasted the air. "We have tried for 3,000 years. Our god ships had shields that could stop dying stars. The core destroyed them like they were nothing." A floating blob of gas that was a Nalari elder pulsed with angry colors. "Your species has been in space for what, 200 years? We were building star bridges when your people still lived in caves." Tae-ho waited for the noise to die down. When he spoke, his voice was calm and steady. "That might be exactly why we can do this." Laughter filled the chamber. Not the happy kind, but the cruel kind that came from beings who thought they were watching fools. Dr. Park Soo-jin stepped forward. She was smaller than most aliens in the room, but her eyes held a fire that made some of them step back. "We have studied your records. Every species that entered the core tried to force their way through with pure power. Everyone failed." "Because it cannot be done," snapped the ethereal High Counselor. His body was made of pure energy, barely held together by his will. "The core tears apart matter itself. Gravity there bends space into knots. Energy storms appear from nothing and destroy everything they touch." Lieutenant Colonel Lee Dong-wook spoke up from behind the other humans. His voice was rough from years of working in asteroid mines. "I have worked in places that should have killed me every day for 20 years. Space tries to kill you everywhere. The trick is not to let it." The chamber fell quiet for a moment. Then the laughter started again, louder this time. The Cosmic Tribunal's speaker, a being so old it remembered the first wars between stars, raised one ancient hand. "You entertain us, little humans, but entertainment will not save you from the core's hunger." Tae-ho pulled out a small device and activated it. A hologram appeared in the center of the chamber, showing the galaxy's spiral arms and the bright, deadly center where no one dared to go. "Every species here has lost ships to the core," he said. "But look at the pattern. You all tried the same thing. Bigger shields, stronger hulls, more powerful engines. What if that is the problem?" Dr. Park Soo-jin took over, her scientific mind sharp and clear. "The core does not destroy through brute force alone. Our studies show it responds to technological signatures. The more advanced your technology, the stronger its reaction." "Impossible," hissed Veltar. "Our sensors show nothing but chaos and death." "Your sensors are too advanced," Park Soo-jin replied. "They see what the core wants them to. See, sometimes simple eyes see more than complex machines." The ethereal High Counselor's energy form flickered with interest. "You claim to have found something we missed?" "We claim nothing yet," Tae-ho answered. "We ask only for permission to try." Grand Admiral Zephyr of the Titan Confederacy laughed, so hard his mechanical parts rattled. His species had replaced most of their bodies with machines long ago. "Permission to die gloriously? Granted, it will be amusing to watch." But not everyone was laughing. High Scholar Memthara of the Ancient Keeper race floated in her life support tank, her old eyes studying the humans with new interest. "There is something different about them," she whispered to her aide. "Something the others do not see." The vote was taken quickly. Every species voted to let the humans try, not because they believed it would work, but because they wanted to watch human pride get crushed by reality. As the meeting broke up, aliens clustered in small groups, placing bets on how long the human ships would last. Most gave them less than a day once they entered the outer core region. But High Scholar Memthera approached the human delegation as they prepared to leave. Her tank floated beside them, and her voice was soft with age and wisdom. "Young ones," she said, "I have lived for 8,000 years. I have seen species rise and fall like waves on a beach. Most die because they forget what made them strong in the first place." Teho stopped and bowed respectfully. "What advice would you give us, honored one? Remember that survival is not about being the strongest or the smartest. It is about being able to change when change is needed. Your species still remembers this. Do not lose it in the darkness ahead." As the humans left the station, something unexpected happened. Deep in the station's archives, an ancient message crystal began to glow. It had been dormant for thousands of years, waiting for the right moment to activate. The crystal projected a hologram of a being no one had seen for ages. The image was crackling and old, but the voice was clear. "To those who would enter the heart of all things, know this. The core does not hate the living. It mourns the dead. Those who enter seeking power will find only death, for they are already lost. But those who enter seeking truth may find what lies beyond the veil of reality itself." The message faded as quickly as it had appeared, leaving only silence and questions no one could answer. Meanwhile, the human ships prepared for a journey into the most dangerous place in the galaxy. Their crews said goodbye to families they might never see again. But in their eyes was not fear, but excitement. They were going where no one had gone and returned. They were going to prove that sometimes the impossible was just another word for something no one had tried the right way yet. In the darkness between stars, the core waited. It had waited for so long that time had lost meaning. Soon, something new would enter its embrace. Something that might finally be different from all the others who had come before. The galaxy held its breath, not knowing it was about to witness something that would change everything. The two human ships floated at the edge of known space. Behind them lay the safe galaxy with its trade routes and peaceful worlds. Ahead stretched the core region, a place where light itself seemed to twist and die. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood on the bridge of the Persistence, watching the view screen with steady eyes. His crew of 50 humans represented Earth's best people. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, and explorers who had volunteered for a mission most called suicide. "Captain," called Communications Officer Yang So-young from her station. "The Resilience is ready. Captain Choi Min-ho sends his regards and says his people are eager to make history." Tae-ho smiled. Min-ho had been his friend since their academy days. If anyone could keep a crew alive in hell, it would be him. "Tell him we will see who reaches the center first." The joke helped ease the tension on the bridge. Laughter was something humans did even when facing death. It was one of their strangest qualities and perhaps one of their strongest. Engineer Kang Ji-woo looked up from his control panel. "All systems show green, Captain, though I have no idea how long they will stay. That way once we enter the core." Dr. Park Soo-jin was studying her instruments with intense focus. "Remember, everyone, the moment our advanced systems start failing, we switch to backup plans. Simple tools, basic navigation, human instinct. That is our advantage." Navigator Song Hye-jin gripped her controls. She had flown through asteroid fields and solar storms that would terrify most pilots. But this was different. This was flying into the unknown itself. "Take us in," Tae-ho ordered. The ships moved forward, crossing the invisible line that marked the beginning of the core region. For a few minutes, nothing seemed different. Stars shone normally and space looked like space everywhere else. Then the first wave hit them. It was not like anything in their training simulations. Reality seemed to bend around the ships. Colors that had no names flashed through space. Gravity pulled in directions that should not exist. The ship's computer system, Area, began speaking in a confused voice. "Error, error. Unable to process sensor data. Recommend immediate withdrawal." "Negative," Tae-ho replied. "Continue forward. All stations report status." One by one, his crew called out their readings. Most of the instruments were already showing Impossible numbers. Temperature readings that said space was both freezing and burning at the same time. Distance measurements that claimed they were moving backward while going forward. On the Resilience, Captain Choi Min-ho was dealing with the same problems. His pilot, Bae Jun-seok, was trying to fly by instruments that kept changing their minds about which way was up. Switch to manual control, Min-ho ordered. Trust your eyes and your gut. That was easier said than done. Through the viewports, space looked like a fever dream. Stars danced in circles. Nebulae shifted color every few seconds. In the distance, something that might have been a planet was spinning so fast it looked like a glowing wheel. Engineer Lim Na-rae worked frantically to keep the ship's systems running. Every few minutes, something else would fail. First, the artificial gravity flickered. Then the air recycling system made strange noises. The lights dimmed and brightened like a heartbeat. It is like the core is trying to talk to our machines, she muttered, replacing a burned-out circuit board. But our machines do not speak its language. Dr. Park Soo-jin heard this and felt a chill of understanding. That might be exactly right. The core is not trying to destroy us. It is trying to communicate, but our technology is too rigid to understand. The first real test came when they encountered an energy storm. It appeared without warning, a wall of crackling power that stretched across their path. The ship's sensors screamed warnings about radiation levels that should have killed them instantly, but they did not die. The storm washed over both ships like water over rocks. The humans inside felt their hair stand up and tasted metal in the air, but they lived. Impossible, breathed Communications Officer Yang So-young. Those readings should have cooked us. Unless, the readings are wrong, suggested Navigator Song Hee-jin. What if our instruments cannot understand what they are measuring? As they flew deeper into the core, they began to see the wreckage. Ships floated in the darkness like dead whales. Some were so large they had their own gravity. Others were made of materials that gleamed like captured starlight. Those are Vorthak godships, whispered Dr. Park Soo-jin, pointing at a cluster of crystal vessels. Each one could have destroyed a solar system. Look at them now. The crystal ships were cracked and dark. Whatever power had driven them was gone. Their crews were gone too, leaving only empty shells drifting in the void. They passed the remains of a Titan Confederacy battle fleet. Hundreds of ships built like moving cities, all silent and cold. The humans could see blast holes in their hulls, but the holes were wrong somehow. They looked like they had been made from the inside out. What could do this? Asked Engineer Kang Ji-woo. Maybe the question is not what, replied Captain Tae-ho. Maybe the question is why. The deeper they went, the stranger things became. The ship's artificial intelligence area began to malfunction in new ways. Instead of reporting errors, she started asking questions. Captain, Area said, in a voice that sounded almost uncertain. I am experiencing something I cannot define. It is as if I am remembering things I never knew. Shut down the AI, ordered Dr. Park Soo-jin. We need to rely on ourselves now. But as Area went offline, something unexpected happened. The humans began to feel more alert, more aware. Navigator Song Hye-jin found she could sense safe paths through the chaos without looking at her instruments. Engineer Lim Na-rae discovered she could fix broken systems by touch alone, knowing exactly what was wrong. The core is not our enemy, Captain Choi Min-ho said over the communication link between ships. It is testing us, stripping away everything artificial to see what lies underneath. As if in response to his words, a new signal appeared on their simple radio equipment. Not the harsh static of cosmic radiation, but something that sounded almost like music, like a voice calling from very far away. Someone is out there, whispered Yang So-young. Someone is trying to talk to us. The two ships continued their journey into the heart of the galaxy, following a song only they could hear. The graveyard stretched in all directions, endless and silent. Ships from 1,000 different species floated in the darkness like fallen leaves. Some were so ancient that their metal had turned to dust, held together only by the strange forces of the core. Captain Kim Tae-ho stood at the observation deck of the Persistence, looking out at the ruins of civilizations that had once ruled the galaxy. Beside him, Dr. Park Soo-jin was taking readings with instruments so simple they seemed like toys compared to what they had started with. That structure there, she pointed at a massive ring of dark metal. It is 10 times larger than our biggest space station. The Eternal Empire built it. They were gods to most of the galaxy. Were, repeated Taeho softly. What happened to gods? Communications Officer Yang So-young had been listening to the old signals that still echoed through the core. Her equipment was now just basic radio gear, but somehow it picked up voices from the past. She played the latest recording for the Yao crew. A voice spoke in the ancient eternal language translated by their simple computer. This is Construct World 7 of the Eternal Domain. We came seeking the ultimate power at the galaxy's heart. We found something else. Something that makes our great work seem like children's toys. It does not destroy us with force. It simply shows us what we have lost. Our people are leaving, their bodies. They say flesh is a prison. They say consciousness must be free. But when they leave, they do not come back. We are alone now. So alone. If anyone hears this, do not seek power here. Seek only truth. And pray it does not break you. The message ended in static. Yang So-young had dozens more like it. Every species that had entered the core had left similar final words. They all spoke of losing something important, though none could say exactly what. On the Resilience, Captain Choi Min-ho was dealing with changes in his own crew. Navigator Bae Jun-seok no longer needed his instruments to find safe passage through the core's twisted space. He could feel the right path in his bones. It is like the core is teaching us, Jun-seok explained. Every time our machines fail, something in us grows stronger. I can sense gravity wells before they form. I can feel energy storms coming hours before they arrive. Engineer Lim Naray nodded in agreement. I fixed the water recycler yesterday without even looking at it. My hands knew where the problem was. It should be impossible, but here we are. Dr. Park Soo-jin was documenting these changes carefully. The core strips away artificial enhancement and technological dependence. Species that evolved beyond their natural abilities find themselves helpless. But we humans are still close to our roots. We can adapt. They flew past the wreck of a Vorthak exploration fleet. The crystal beings had tried to enter the core with ships powered by captured stars. Now those ships were dark monuments to failed ambition. Through the transparent hulls, they could see the Vorthak crews. Their crystal bodies cracked and lifeless. They could manipulate matter with their thoughts, whispered Yang So-young. They built planets from asteroids. What could kill beings like that? The answer came from an unexpected source. As they approached the center of the graveyard, they found a ship that was still active. It was small and primitive, made from metal that looked like it had been hammered by hand. Life signs, reported the sensor operator on the Resilience. Faint, but there. Both human ships approached carefully. The unknown vessel was shaped like an arrow, with no visible weapons or advanced technology. As they drew near, a weak signal reached their radios. Help, please. So long. Waiting so long. Captain Taeho made the decision quickly. Prepare boarding parties. If someone survived this long in the core, we need to know how. The boarding party found a single being inside the alien ship. It was tall and thin, with skin like old leather. Its species was not in any galactic database. When it saw the humans, its ancient eyes filled with tears. You came, it whispered in a voice like wind through empty caves. After so long, someone came who could survive the journey. The being called itself Yenth. Its people had entered the core thousands of years ago. Not seeking power, but seeking answers to questions about life and death. They had been the only ones to survive the core's test because they had never tried to force their way through. The core does not hate, Yenth explained, as human medics tended to its failing body. It mourns. It is the memory of the first species to achieve true consciousness in this galaxy. They transcended physical existence but left part of themselves behind to guide others. Dr. Park Soo-jin leaned forward intently. Guide others to what? To remember what they were before they became slaves to their own creations. Every species that enters the core relying on artificial power finds itself naked and helpless. But species that remember their true nature, they find something wonderful. Yenth's ship had no advanced technology at all. No artificial intelligence, no energy shields, no faster-than-light drive. It had simply drifted through the core for millennia, its occupant sustained by the strange forces that float around the galaxy's heart. My people chose to stay, Yenth continued. They became part of the core's memory, but they sent me back to wait for others who might understand. You are the first. As Yenth spoke, the human crews began to feel something changing around them. The chaotic energies of the core seemed less random now. They could sense patterns in the madness like music hidden in noise. Engineer Kang Ji-woo reported that the ship's systems were working better than they had since entering the core. It is like the core has decided to help us instead of hinder us. Because you proved yourselves, Yenth said with a weak smile. You came not as conquerors, but as explorers. You faced the unknown with curiosity instead of fear. The core recognizes this. The ancient being's breathing grew shallow. Its time was finally ending after waiting so long for someone to find it. Go deeper, Yenth whispered. To the very center. Something waits there that has been alone since the galaxy was young. It has a gift for those brave enough to receive it without trying to claim it. With those words, Yenth died peacefully, its long vigil finally over. The humans buried the ancient explorer with honors, placing its body in a simple pod that would drift forever among the stars it had loved. Then they continued their journey, toward the galaxy's heart, no longer afraid of what they might find there. Behind them, the graveyard of failed expeditions seemed less frightening now. The wrecked ships looked less like monuments to defeat, and more like markers on a path that led somewhere important. Somewhere ahead, at the very center of everything, something waited patiently for visitors who had finally learned the right way to come calling. At the exact center of the galaxy, where billions of stars spiraled around a point of ultimate gravity, the two human ships found something impossible. It was not a black hole, or a neutron star, or any other cosmic object they knew. It was a sphere, of pure light that somehow cast no shadows. Captain Kim Tae-ho felt his breath catch in his throat. The sphere was beautiful beyond description, but that was not what amazed him. What amazed him was that he could look directly at it without harm. Light that should have blinded him felt warm and welcoming instead. All readings are normal, reported Dr. Park Soo-jin, though her voice showed her confusion. No dangerous radiation, no gravitational distortion. According to our instruments, there is nothing there at all. But there was something there. Everyone could see it, feel it, sense it in ways they had no words for. As they watched, the sphere began to pulse with a rhythm like a heartbeat. Then, it spoke, not through their radios or their communication systems. The voice appeared directly in their minds, gentle and ancient and unutterably sad. Welcome, children of the young worlds. I have waited so long for visitors who could hear my true voice. Captain Choi Min-ho tried to respond through his radio, but the voice interrupted kindly. No need for machines, little ones. You have proven you can survive without them. Speak with your thoughts. I will hear. Dr. Park Soo-jin found herself chosen as the primary translator, though she did not understand why. Her mind seemed to resonate with the vast consciousness in a way that let her carry messages between it and her fellow humans. What are you? She asked with her thoughts. I am memory, came the reply. I am the echo of the first species to achieve true awareness in this galaxy. When my people transcended physical existence, they left me here to remember what they had been and to guide those who came after. Through Park Soo-jin, the entity shared its story. Millions of years ago, when the galaxy was young and wild, the first intelligent species had evolved beyond the need for physical bodies. But in doing so, they had faced a terrible choice. To transcend, the consciousness explained, we had to leave behind everything that made us who we were, our struggles, our growth, our connections to each other. We became pure thought, but we lost our souls. The entity showed them visions of what had happened. Species after species had risen to Great heights of technology and power, each had eventually found their way to the core seeking the ultimate advancement. Each had been offered the same choice: transcend their physical nature and become beings of pure energy. Most had accepted eagerly. They had become gods in the truest sense, able to manipulate matter and energy with a thought. But in gaining ultimate power, they had lost something precious. They had lost the ability to grow, to change, to feel wonder at the universe around them. They became perfect, the consciousness whispered sadly. And in perfection, they found only emptiness. The more recent arrivals, like the Vorthak and the Eternals, had tried to take the power by force when it was not freely offered. The core had defended itself, but not with violence. It had simply shown these species what they would lose by abandoning their essential nature. Faced with that truth, most had chosen to die rather than give up their artificial enhancements. They could not imagine existence without their technological gods' gifts. But you are different, the entity told the humans. You came not seeking power, but seeking knowledge. You faced the core's tests and grew stronger instead of weaker. You remembered what your ancestors knew: that consciousness strengthened by struggle is more valuable than consciousness freed from all limitations. Engineer Kang Jiwoo spoke up through the mental link. Are you offering us the same choice? To become like you? I offer you something else, the consciousness replied. The chance to remain as you are and help others remember what they have forgotten. Your species still knows how to adapt, how to survive, how to find hope in darkness. These are gifts the galaxy desperately needs. The entity shared another vision, this one of the current galactic civilization. Despite all their technology and power, most species were dying spiritually. They had become so dependent on artificial enhancement that they had forgotten how to truly live. The Vorthak can reshape matter with their thoughts, the consciousness explained, but they have forgotten how to laugh. The Eternals can live forever, but they have lost the ability to love. The Skarn can conquer worlds, but they no longer dream of better tomorrows. Communications Officer Yang So-young felt tears running down her cheeks as she understood. You want us to teach them? I want you to show them, the entity corrected gently. By being yourselves, by proving that consciousness can be powerful without being enhanced, that intelligence can grow without artificial assistance, that beings can be magnificent while remaining mortal. The consciousness offered them a gift then, not technology or power, but knowledge. The understanding of how consciousness really worked, how it could be nurtured and strengthened without machines, how species could maintain their technological advancement while preserving the essential qualities that made them truly alive. Captain Tae-ho felt the weight of decision settling on his shoulders. What if we fail? What if the other species will not listen? Then you will have tried, the entity replied. And trying is more than most have done. Your species has already shown something I thought was lost forever: the willingness to risk everything for the chance to grow. Lieutenant Colonel Lee Dong-wook, the former asteroid miner, understood better than most. We did not come here to become gods. We came here to prove that being human is enough. Yes, the consciousness whispered with something that might have been joy. You understand. That is why you are the ones I have been waiting for. The entity shared one final gift: the true history of the galaxy, hidden knowledge that would help humanity guide other species back to their essential nature. But it came with a warning. This knowledge is dangerous. It will change everything you think you know about civilization and progress. Some will hate you for it. Others will try to use it for their own gain. Can you bear this burden? The human crews looked at each other across the gap between their ships. They thought of their families back on Earth, of the peaceful worlds they had left behind, of the life they could have lived in comfortable ignorance. Then, they thought of the ancient being Yenth, who had waited alone for thousands of years for someone to find him. They thought of the graveyard of ships around them, filled with species who had lost their way. They thought of a galaxy slowly dying from its own perfection. We accept, Captain Choi Min-ho said for all of them. The consciousness touched their minds one last time, filling them with knowledge and purpose. Then it began to fade, its long vigil finally complete. "Go now," it whispered, as it dissolved into light. "Go and remember. Go and teach. Go and show the galaxy that the greatest power is not in transcending your nature, but in embracing it fully." As the sphere of light vanished, the human ships found themselves alone at the center of the galaxy. But they were not the same people who had entered the core. They carried within them the seeds of a revolution that would change everything. The journey home would be long, but they were ready for it. They had work to do. The Galactic Federation's emergency session was the largest gathering in known history. Representatives from every species, major and minor, crowded into the great assembly hall on Kepler Prime. They had come to hear what the humans had found. In the place where gods go to die, Captain Kim Taeho stood at the center of the hall, looking older than when he had left. His hair had streaks of white that had not been there before, and his eyes held depth that spoke of things seen and understood. Behind him stood his crew, all changed by their journey to the galaxy's heart. The hall buzzed with nervous energy. Some species had gathered to mock what they expected to be another human failure. Others had come out of genuine curiosity. A few had come because they had felt something change in the galaxy itself, though they could not name what. "Speak, human," commanded Grand Admiral Zephyr of the Titan Confederacy. His mechanical voice carried across the hall. "Tell us how your primitive ship succeeded where our god vessels failed." Taeho did not answer immediately. Instead, he activated a simple holographic projector. The image that appeared was not of advanced technology or alien weapons. It was a recording of space itself, showing the core as the humans had found it. "We succeeded because we did not try to conquer," he said simply. "We went to listen." The hologram showed the graveyard of ships, the ancient ruins, the sphere of light at the galaxy's center. But more than that, it showed the humans working together, solving problems with creativity and determination rather than overwhelming force. Dr. Park Soo-jin stepped forward. "The core is not our enemy. It is the guardian of something precious that most species have forgotten, the value of growing through struggle rather than bypassing it through technology." Her words caused an uproar. Representatives shouted in dozens of languages. The Vorthok delegation flickered with angry light. The Skarn Empire's speakers hissed in outrage. "Impossible," snapped Commander Veltar. "Advancement through struggle is primitive. We evolved beyond such limitations." "Did you?" asked Communications Officer Yang So-young. "When was the last time your species created something truly new? When did you last feel wonder at the universe around you?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Many representatives shifted uncomfortably, though they could not say why. High Scholar Memthara of the ancient Keeper race spoke from her life support tank. "There is wisdom in these words. My people have lived for millennia, but we have not truly lived. We exist, but we do not grow." Lieutenant Colonel Lee Dong-wook shared the knowledge they had gained, explaining how consciousness could be strengthened without artificial enhancement, how species could maintain their technology while rediscovering their essential nature. "You ask us to abandon everything we have built," protested the ethereal High Counselor. "Our technology, our enhancements, our power over matter itself." "No," replied Captain Choi Min-ho. "We ask you to remember what you built it for in the YCBI first place. Was it not to make life better? To grow and explore and understand? Your technology was meant to serve you, not replace you." The debates that followed lasted for days. Some species rejected the human message entirely. Others listened, with growing interest. A few began to understand that something had been missing from their perfect lives. The breakthrough came when Navigator Bae Jun-seok demonstrated something impossible. Without using any technology at all, he accurately predicted the formation of a gravity well in a nearby system. His prediction was confirmed by the Federation's most advanced sensors. "How?" demanded the chief scientist of the Vorthak delegation. "I learned to listen to the universe instead of trying to force it to obey me," Jun-seok answered. "The core taught me that consciousness and cosmos are connected in ways our machines cannot measure." More demonstrations followed. Engineer Lim, Naray repaired a broken Skarn device using only her intuition and simple tools. Dr. Park Soo-jin solved a mathematical problem that had puzzled galactic scholars for centuries, using insights gained from her contact with the core consciousness. Slowly, skepticism began to give way to curiosity. Young members of various species approached the human delegation with questions. How could they learn these abilities? How could they reconnect with their essential nature without losing their technological advantages? The answer led to the formation of the Guardian Protocol. It was not a government or a military organization, but something new, a galaxy-wide initiative to help species rediscover their roots while maintaining their advancement. Captain Tae-ho established the first Guardian station at the edge of the core region. It served as a training ground where beings from across the galaxy could learn to survive and thrive without total dependence on technology. The curriculum was unlike anything in galactic history. Students learned to navigate by instinct, to solve problems through creativity, to find strength in community rather than individual power. They studied human history, learning from a species that had faced countless challenges and grown stronger with each one. Engineer Kang Ji-woo became a teacher, showing alien students how to build and repair things with their own hands. His lessons were popular because they offered something most species had forgotten: the satisfaction of creating something through personal effort. Dr. Park Soo-jin revolutionized galactic science by introducing research methods that combined advanced technology with conscious intuition. Her techniques led to discoveries that pure logic had missed for millennia. The changes were not immediate or universal. Many species clung to their old ways, viewing the Guardian Protocol as a threat to their superiority. But others began to change, and the effects rippled across the galaxy. The Keeper race, ancient and wise, were among the first to embrace the new understanding. They began emerging from their life support systems, remembering what it felt like to breathe natural air and feel sunlight on their skin. Young Vorthak began practicing consciousness techniques that let them shape matter through understanding rather than force. Their creations became more beautiful and more alive than anything their ancestors had built. Even some Skarn began to question whether conquest was really the path to strength. A few joined the Guardian program, learning that cooperation could achieve more than domination. The core region itself began to change. No longer a forbidden zone of death and madness, it became a pilgrimage site. Humans served as guides for those seeking to understand the galaxy's deepest mysteries. Captain Choi Min-ho established a permanent research station at the galaxy's heart, ensuring that the ancient consciousness's message would never be forgotten. Mixed crews of humans and aliens worked together there, combining the best of technology and natural ability. But perhaps the most important change was in the galaxy's young people. A new generation grew up learning that advancement did not require abandoning their essential nature. They explored the universe with wonder instead of arrogance, seeking to understand rather than conquer. The humans had not become the galaxy's rulers or its saviors. They had become something more valuable: its teachers and its conscience. They showed by example that consciousness strengthened by struggle was more powerful than consciousness freed from all limitations. The galaxy was still vast and dangerous. There were still wars and conflicts, still species that chose power over wisdom. But now there was also hope. Hope that intelligence could grow without losing its soul. Hope that beings could become magnificent while remaining mortal. And in the depths of space, where new species took their first steps toward the stars, they found waiting for them, not conquerors or gods, but friends. Humans who had traveled to the heart of everything and returned with the greatest treasure of all, the knowledge that being yourself was enough. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Sometimes the species everyone underestimates are the ones who save everyone else, not through strength or technology or ancient power, but through the simple refusal to give up on what it means to be alive. In the end, that was humanity's gift to the stars. The reminder that the greatest adventures begin not when you transcend your limitations, but when you learn to dance with them.